So it wasn't my fault this time, everyone.
No, this one was on me.
Yes, welcome. This is the eve. So first off, so yes, there's a lot of things happening tonight. We got an episode of The Bad Batch coming out at midnight, but not only that, most importantly, it is the beginning of March 1st, which means it is, in fact, the beginning of season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Fuck. Yes.
Yes.
Not to play favorites. Not to play favorites. We love The Bad Batch around here. But I'm so excited for The Mandalorian. Excited for The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. Hello there, everybody.
There's so much lore. There's so much lore. There's so much new history that's about to be, revealed and shown to us about like the history of Mandalore itself and or Mandalorian culture itself. All the characters that we could potentially see. There's like throughout different generations. Like we could have flashbacks. We could have flash forwards almost. Like
the whole show is kind of a slow motion flash forward if you think about it.
Yeah. I will say I have not seen the most recent episode of The Last of Us. I was going to watch that later tonight as I continued packing for the Seattle trip and for Emerald City Comic-Con.
My lips are sealed. Yeah, before we dive into before we get totally lost in the barrage of Mando hype that we're about to unfold here, let's talk about Comic-Con just for a second. We're going to Emerald City Comic-Con this coming weekend. It's in Seattle. If you're in the area, come down. We're going to be there Friday through Sunday. It would be great to meet some people. We're just going to be wandering around, having a good time. I'm there for the art. I'm always there for the art sales on the upper floor. Buy so many prints every year. It's so good. But anyone that's in the area, this is definitely
I will be there. Of course, I will be there for the photographers and the cosplayers, and as well as the art. Unfortunately, none of the really big Doctor Strange comic artists or writers will be visiting this time, so I won't be bringing necessarily anything to autograph. But I'm still super hyped because I haven't seen Seattle since I left. And so
Seattle has missed you, man. It's good to be back.
There's going to be a lot of cosplayers. There's going to be some people that I knew from Seattle that like moved to New York, and now they're going to be coming to Seattle to visit. And so, yeah, a lot of Ren Fair people that I haven't been able to see. So there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot happening. Yeah.
It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. We will absolutely take pics and a lot of vids. It's
yeah, Sunday I'm going to be joined at the hip with you because
there's a Mandalorian panel on Sunday. Sunday is going to be a good one.
Well, I tried on my Moon Knight jumpsuit, and I'm not posting anything yet. I'm not posting anything or showing.
How'd it go? How'd the Moon Knight go?
Moon Knight did show. Moonlight looks great.
Okay.
I just need to buy some shoes. I just need to buy like some shoes or some boots.
What kind of shoes does Moon Knight wear?
Well, I mean, he has white boots, but I mean, I just need some gray fake Toms looking things. Like I'll show you and I'll explain it when more.
Okay. Word. How's the weather? Well, today I woke up and there was snow, and then it was really sunny and warm for a while, and then there was a hailstorm, and now it's like I don't know. I don't have the weather thing in front of me, but it was like
I don't know. I'm a little worried, but at the same time, like I'm gonna be bringing
Agreed.
sweaters.
White Jordans. Anyway. That's what you should wear.
White Jordans. I'm not gonna be wearing no.
Moon Knight.
so I'm doing Mark Spector. So I'm doing not like the tuxedo sort of a thing. It's just like it's the regular white suit cape sort of thing. I'm gonna bring Conchu. Conchu's gonna be coming with me on the plane.
Hell yeah.
He's going to be coming and hanging out with us the whole day. So, yeah. I'm just going to do the smoky eyes, put on some eyeliner, and make myself just look like I've been through shit and just pull the Oscar.
There you go. Just don't sleep for a couple days beforehand and you'll be good to go.
So it's exciting. It's going to be like one of the most comfortable cosplays I've ever had. But anyway, my initial point of what I was trying to say of me being connected to the hip with you is the only way to get myself in and out of it is that there's a full-length back zipper. And so, like, I'm going to need your help to fucking, like, unzip me in and out of this thing anytime I have to piss or get in and out of it. So,
great.
Yeah, I'm going to need your help.
Great.
I'm going to need your help on Sunday.
Well, I got you, bro. I got you.
Yeah.
You ever need zipping and unzipping? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I got you, man.
It's gonna be some good shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be worth it though, because the costume's gonna look great. I am sure.
I mostly just wanted it for simplicity and for something to be a little bit different outside of Strange. And then, but like Oscar Isaac, like the whole series, the whole mini series was just fucking great. Like anyone in the chat who has read Moon Knight comics or who is an avid Moon Knights fan, put some titles in there. Put some like basic one shots or like, you know, little moonshot group books that like, or you know, a simple read.
I like that. A Moon Knight one shot is a moon shot.
Yeah, right. It's a mooning, if it were.
Oh, if you will, and I will.
Yeah. So yeah, so Emerald City. I'm excited.
It's gonna be awesome.
I have to fucking shower and shave before I show up, but like again, I don't super plan on sleeping too much because I feel like I'm gonna have to be at the airport by 5 a.m. because boarding is at 7 a.m. Or no, I guess I don't have to be there at 5. I guess I have to be there by like at the latest 6 a.m. So, and then I'll re-text you my itinerary because I should.
Okay, sure, yeah. Just let me know, and I'll come pick you up, and then we're gonna watch Mandalorian. It's gonna be
10
fucking
a.m.
awesome. Yeah, someone mentioned the Mando timeline shenanigans. Did you hear about this, Bendu?
Did I miss the crazy Mando timeline talk? I mean, like
I'm currently putting some materials together so we can talk about this. Just give me a second here.
So, like I said, I really wouldn't be surprised if this is like Filoni's opportunity or just live action Star Wars opportunity to really give us flashbacks. You know, like sure. I mean, the timeline of this particular season, like they could show us the Siege of Mandalore, or they could show us like, you know, fucking Quirky Kryze, or they could show us fucking Bo-Katan, or like you know, there's plenty of plenty of timelines that could be mentioned or could be shown.
So the issue in the quote that's going on right now is that people said, or here, let me just grab it for you. Actually, this will make way more sense because there's a video clip that goes along with it. So the Sky Talkers podcast got to interview Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and talk to them a little bit about just Mando, upcoming stuff, previous years. And there was one little soundbite that kind of everyone went wild with, where he talks about 2 years going by while Grogu was with Luke. Yeah. And the whole thing taking place over several years, which kind of accelerates the timeline that anyone had in their head. So Jon Favreau confirms the events of The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 take place over many years, and that Grogu trained with Luke for 2 years, quote, until being reunited with Din in the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, yeah.
This, in my opinion, is a misinterpretation of his words. I'm still trying to grab the actual clip from the Sky Talkers podcast where he says it, but here is an excerpt of a different interview where he's talking about the exact same thing. The 2 years between when the last episode aired of season 2 and now allowed for time to pass. When he says we haven't seen him for 2 years, he's talking about us, the audience. He's saying that we haven't seen it because it's been 2 years since there's been a season of The Mandalorian. Yeah. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
I don't think that Grogu has been with Luke for 2 whole years.
I mean, even if he was, I mean, that's not like.
Yeah, see, when I first heard the quote, I was like, wait, what?
Like 2 years isn't that big of a deal. Like it could be a flat, like 2 years could still be a flash of Mando doing mini missions and like kicking it with Boba.
I mean, sure, it's a flash in the pan, and it all kind of adds up. If you think there's like a week or two between each of the insular stories, and then maybe a year between a season, like I think that sounds very rational.
Plausible. That's completely easily plausible. Like especially given the fact of how much of a positional and society difference we see with Cara Dune and Carl Weathers' character, who I can't think of right now, but like they went through complete like job and career changes between season 1 and season 2. Like there's like it would not surprise me at all if more than 2 years had canonically happened during the 2 years that took between film production. Because like we got Obi-Wan, we got Andor, so those were 2 years worth of productions that we've seen between Mando season.
No one can argue that it's like 2 years have gone by since we had a Star Wars show. There's been a lot of stuff going on, but Mando specifically, it's been a while since Mando was out. And I think that there's nothing wrong with it taking 2 years in universe because Grogu was a really slow aging creature in the first
Exactly.
place. I think I
Exactly.
don't know. Laura has the right attitude here. Either way, I don't care. I'll watch it anyway. Like legit. Do
Yeah.
we really care?
It's
Is
not,
this really an
it's not
important
like
thing?
some bullshit. It would be way worse. It would be way worse if they were like, all right, the first 4 episodes are going to take place during this time. And then the last 4 episodes are just going to be like 2 years later. And then we're just going to be like, well, what the fuck happened between those 2 years of half of season 3 and the second half of season 3? Like
Right.
that would be worse. That would be some bullshit.
What's
Or if they pulled some Quentin Tarantino shit and they gave us like, you know, the last half of the season at the beginning of the season, and then like gave us the.
I never mind it when they do that if it's well executed.
If it's well executed,
If
but
they pull it off, I'm like, okay, that was a little confusing, but I get it now and I appreciate it. But like, oh, it's so painful when they try to do that and it doesn't quite land.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I would complain about, like if they were to try to do the 2 year. But
yes, Boba was in the desert with the Tuscans for a really long time. But unfortunately, we also can't quite pin that down because they were flashbacks without a defined start period or end period. We just know that it happened before the events of The Mandalorian. And there's years in which that could have gone down because Return of the Jedi was many years ago at this point.
That's true.
And we're not, and like, he didn't necessarily like get out of that Tuscan camp like yesterday and today the action starts. It's like the whole thing, the entire narrative of those flashbacks began and concluded years ago. But we don't know
There's
how
a
many
bunch of novels between that time period. Like Boba could have been with the Tuscan camp the same time that Leia was dealing with that one Senator Dick who was like trying to put out the propaganda that like, oh, Leia's dad was Vader, you shouldn't vote for her. Like that shit was all happening.
Yeah, bloodlines.
Yeah.
Yep. The entire events of the Aftermath trilogy went by in this time period.
So much
Boba
time.
flashbacks takes place before Mando season 2. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it takes place within a year of Return of the Jedi. It's within a year of that going down, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, like afterwards is what you're saying though. Like a year after.
Well,
like,
it had to have been really soon after, because think about Cobb Vance's story. All right, he watches that shit get blown up in the cantina. We don't know if it's live, but it's definitely like very soon after the Battle of Endor, right?
Being blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the mining guild comes in, they shoot the place up, and he escapes. He's immediately brought to a sandcrawler, and Boba's armor's already in that bitch.
That's true.
Which means they've already knocked Boba out and stolen his armor. And this is like the week of the Battle of Endor. So that should happen like immediately after Return of the Jedi.
That's true.
So that actually does make sense for that to take years, because we need to fill in quite a few years to bring us back up to the Mandalorian timeline. We're like 9 years after Yavin at this point.
Yeah, totally makes sense to me. Totally makes sense. I don't know.
Some parts of it make sense. Some parts of it don't make sense. The parts of it that do make sense is Mando being in the desert with the Tuscans for a really long time. And for up to, let's say, 2 or 3 years to have gone by with Mando and Grogu having adventures together.
Yep.
I don't know how he could have spent 2 years, how Luke could have spent 2 years with Grogu already.
I mean, we don't know how long it takes to force train shit. And again, like what you literally just
tonight's
said.
Episode is 34 minutes long.
And like you said, Grogu is a very slow aging creature. So like if certain parts of the Mando story are taken from Grogu's point of view, then it would make sense for time to be portrayed differently than it would be from like Din Djarin's point of view.
You know what? That's true. That's a good point. And I wonder if we're going to start getting more Grogu-centric stuff moving forward, if we're going to start seeing things from his perspective, almost like exclusively, almost, you know.
Well, we know that we're getting that Order 66 flashback, and then I guess for the prior Grogu stuff, that was Ahsoka telling us from Grogu's point of view. It was Ahsoka who was kind of telling that story, right?
Yes. Grogu was saying it to Ahsoka, and then she translated it for Din, and Din is the audience. Right. Din is us.
That's right.
So we haven't gotten like the straight dope from Grogu before, because he doesn't talk.
He just hopped out of that X-wing with his Mithril shirt and was just like, what's up?
Exactly.
And then Mando's just like, who got the shirt? You know,
here, I found the quote from the Sky Talkers. Shout out to Sky Talkers, by the way. Awesome podcast. Subscribe to them if you aren't already. I'm sure you are if you found us. If you're deep enough in the rabbit hole to have found us. So here it is.
Is definitely somebody who has spent time in both worlds. And we know that he started off earlier in the Jedi Temple. We've seen flashbacks to that that speak to that. And then we know that he's been rescued and spent many years with the Mandalorian. Went back with Luke. Now we've been 2 years apart from him there training. What's interesting is that as he chooses to return to his friend, the Mandalorian, because
and now we've been 2 years apart from him there training. So is he saying that we've been apart from him for 2 years because it's been 2 years since we, the audience, have seen the Mandalorian on screen? Or is he saying that he's saying that he's literally been training with Luke for 2 years in universe? I think he's speaking IRL, that it's been 2 years since we left off on that narrative point in the Mandalorian story, which doesn't make sense either because Book of Boba Fett was less than 2 years ago. I think he's just somehow not counting Book of Boba Fett and he's just talking Mandalorian, even though he himself is intertwined into the story.
2 years, or story-wise, it could be 2 years. I mean, he could have spent 2 years with Luke. I don't see why that's so big of a deal.
See, I'm zeroing in on the weave as well. I feel like he's not speaking from a perspective of like the storyteller. He's talking about what we have seen on screen so far.
Can you play it again?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Is definitely, and we know that he started off earlier in the
Jedi Temple.
Jedi Temple. We've seen flashbacks to that that speak to that, and then we know that he's been rescued and spent many years with the Mandalorian.
So Grogu has spent many years with the Mandalorian across season 1 and 2. I always got the impression that season 1 and 2 is like a fortnight.
Nah.
A couple weeks, you know?
Nah.
Because every event flows directly into every other event. Like, first episode, the Marshall stuff happens. All right. Then he's on his way off world. He needs to get the frog lady to the planet. They're on their way and they get attacked by ice spiders. Next, they arrive. Are you telling me that there was weeks and weeks and weeks between those episodes? Because it seems like they're boom, 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 part 1, 2, 3.
I mean, space travel can take a while. You know?
It's true. And they were limping on sublight drives. That is a very good point, Bendu. And maybe they're just like cutting out the boring bits where everyone's sitting around playing Pazak, you know?
Exactly. Everyone gave Game of Thrones a lot of that. Gave Game of Thrones
That's
a lot
true.
of that too.
That's
I was like, bro,
point.
do you really want just like hours of them riding horses through the fucking wilderness? Like, do you really need hours of them just camping and just fucking around? No. You want to get to the sport.
I was one of those people that thought that the lack of travel was annoying, and all that I suggested was take some of your like hallway and flowery garden conversations and just put them on horseback. A lot of the exposition could have gone on in the middle of a journey, you know, and that would have made it make sense. That's all.
Yeah.
Like if Braun's got to show up at Casterly Rock and say some shit, just have him say it on the horse on his way there, and then it makes sense why he's there later in the episode.
That's true. But then he has to tell everybody.
Don't get me ranting about Game of Thrones. We're going to be here a really long time.
But anyway, yeah, light speed. We don't fucking know how far. Even going light speed, we don't know how many hours it takes to get from one system to another system. So suck my ass.
Here's a question for you. Before anyone starts sucking your ass, answer me this. How long does it take to get to the outer rim from the inner rim of the galaxy at light speed?
No fucking idea.
And also, is it like Star Trek where there's warp 1, warp 2 up to warp 10? There's variable speeds within, or is light speed just fucking light speed?
I think light speed is just light speed, and that's why they have to power the hyperdrive to it. Or they describe light speed as a area in space because they were able to because there was that Rebels episode of when people were, or was it Rebels? I remember someone was being tracked through hyperspace, which was supposedly impossible. And then so the Empire was able to find that ship mid fucking hyperspace and like join in. So like
that was The Last Jedi.
That was Last Jedi. So yeah, I feel like, you know, you could just, it's kind of like the carpool lane. You just sort of like skirt on in it. And if you're going the same speed as somebody else who's going in it, then, you know, there it is.
I've always wondered if like a small single person craft can go the same speed as a Star Destroyer when the hyperdrives are engaged. If they're just like light speed is light speed. You know?
I doubt it. Yes.
Okay, in canon there are different classes of hyperdrive. Okay, makes sense that there would be
sizes. You know, like I'm sure some big helicarrier is potentially faster than like a small X-wing going through.
Well, exactly. There's so many different
have
classes,
momentum.
size of ship and stuff that you would have to have different machinery. Yeah, I remember in A New Hope, he says it makes 0.5 past light speed. Like he's bragging about how much beyond light speed he's able to go. So he's souped up his hyperdrive, class 0.5.
Yeah. We're using the certain, what is it, Epsium as the NOS and just.
The coaxium.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ipsium is in Bad Batch, which now they have access to like a shit ton of, and that's definitely going to come in handy.
But like even then, they like put a little drop into the engine, and that shit just like
hell yeah
through. But yeah,
so I wanted to watch this this recap that we got here ahead of our premiere tonight. Also, a fair warning to everybody: it's going to be a shorter podcast tonight because Bendu's got some packing to do. For those of you who are still somehow unaware, he's going to be literally in here tomorrow. I got to go pick him up and stuff, but he's flying out very soon. So we're gonna do a podcast here, react to the Bad Batch, and then it's on.
Yeah, it's 9:22 my time. We're still doing our Bad Batch reaction tonight at midnight. So that'll bring us to 1 a.m. my
because
time.
we are troopers.
And then so like we were.
Yeah, how much sleep are you gonna get, man?
2 hours. And then I'm just gonna try to sleep on the plane. And the Expedia says the plane should be 3 hours and 22 minutes. So I'm really hoping to just like conk out the majority of the time.
Word.
But
Word.
I'm gonna
for Mandalore. Do it for Mandalore.
For Mandalore, and then they're gonna pick me up, and then we're gonna fucking hit up some fucking probably McDonald's. I don't give a shit. We'll probably need some sort of burgers. And then we're gonna.
Don't worry, I'll make sure you're fed and full of.
And then Mando season 3, episode 1 is gonna be phenomenal. And then I'm probably gonna take a massive power nap while you're editing and sending things to Nerd Chronic.
Yes.
And then
yes. And then the biggest of shout outs to Nerd Chronic. For the next 6 weeks of insanity, he's gonna have a Mando reaction and a Bad Batch reaction coming to him simultaneously for the next 6 weeks. Did you know that in the month of March, we're getting 29 Star Wars stories? I'll say that again when he comes back, but that's what it is, you guys. 29. That is so many. Like the floodgates of content are just open right now.
Yeah. I was really trying to also figure out like how we might want to do our reactions in like the next few weeks. If we rather do the Mando reactions at midnight and then the Bad Batch like next day, or
that is a conversation for offline, but it is a good thing to discuss.
But that is something that was something I was thinking about the other day. I was like, oh shit, this is something we need to figure out, because trying to do
and figure it out we will. But what I was just saying when you got up is that over this next month we are getting 29 Star Wars stories. That's 6 episodes of the Bad Batch, right? 5 episodes of the Mandalorian, 16 comic issues, including a Mando adaptation, right? God. We're getting 1 middle grade novel, which is the Hunters tie-in novel for the new mobile game Hunters. And we're getting an adult novel, Jedi Battle Scars, which is going to tie into Jedi Survivor, which was also originally going to be dropping in March on top of Mando.
Is it not?
And Bad Batch.
I forget. Did it get
pushed back to April? So now it's going to be dropping around the same time as Star Wars Celebration, which is kind of cool for those of us that don't get to go. We get to stay home and play a brand new Star Wars game. That's fun.
Tis true.
Yeah, Battle Scars is going to be sick. I'm definitely going to be reading it. I want to go into my Jedi Survivor experience with as much like narrative context as possible. Yeah, exactly.
True. I will say there was I did get into a little bit of a scrutiny battle on Twitter, because there was some engine footage that they showed that of Cal Kestis being able to like use a crossguard saber in Jedi Survivor as one of the fighting styles that you'll have, which is amazing. It's gonna be fucking cool. That now
I can't wait for the crossguard, man. It's I noticed in the gameplay he's hella slow with that thing.
Oh yeah, so that was what pissed me off, and everyone's like, "Oh well, the hilt is heavier." Like, "Oh well, it's to like base off fighting style." Blah 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 blah.
It's a sword made of light. Don't
everyone was fucking missing the point that I was trying to make, though, and everyone, because like because I made the joke of like, well, someone should teach him how to swing better, or like someone should teach him how to fight with that sword. And like no one understood what I meant of like, well, it's just heavier. And I'm like, then dude, stop using a heavy sword as a regular lightsaber. If you're gonna have someone using a two-handed, like, it's different. It's different. If you're gonna try to say that this is a cross-guard saber like Kylo Ren, that was different because he was able to use that shit with one hand. And that was just a regular one-handed short sword like Game of Thrones.
Kylo clearly had some semblance of formal training in how to use a cross-guard weapon.
Yeah. Whereas the cross-guard saber that they're showing in the Jedi Survivor like gameplay footage, the way he's using it is like a double-handed longsword. So he should be doing slow turns, and like he should be being way more emphasized with how his wrists and elbows are working together, not trying to use regular.
This is a very good point. Kylo has trained on it, and Kylo's probably picking it up for the first time, so he would be kind of just like making it up. I guess that makes sense. But you're right, though. He's not doing it a very efficient way. That's not really how you would fight with that.
Well, the hilt's bigger than Kylo's. Cal Kestis's hilt.
Cal Kestis's hilt is almost too big for me. It kind of freaks me out. I'm like, why is that so big? Like, I get that it's a double-bladed saber and it's detachable and everything, but like, I wish it could be a little bit more low profile, like a little slimmer, but still like have all of the accoutrements and stuff, you know? If we go to ECCC, we should have a meetup on Alki Beach in Seattle. Cool spot, easier to navigate than downtown. Well, that's goddamn true. You can find your way around Alki very easily. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to make our way out that
getting to West Seattle though. Like that's
yes.
We're not getting it. We're not going to West Seattle. Sorry.
What Bendu said. However, we are going to be doing some sort of a meetup in Seattle, most likely downtown or near downtown after Emerald City Comic-Con.
Friday night or Saturday night, 100%. I brought my fancy clothes and everything. So I plan on getting dressed up at least one night, and so
we've got a couple of spots that we like to hit up. If you are going to ECCC and you manage to run into us, we'll join up as a group and we'll find a place to go. But if you aren't planning to go, if you didn't swing tickets, you didn't want to spend the money on them, that's fine too, because we'll be posting on Discord and on Twitter, and you'll be able to find us after the event wherever it is that we end up having a hangout at, for sure. Another 10-second commercial in the spirit. Captain Rex is the guy who did an excellent narration for our
Twitter review.
Our first ever Twitter review. Yeah, and it was excellent. It was
fucking amazing.
It was excellent.
I see Gustavo up here. Saber length is longer as well, I think. Exactly. Yeah. So the gameplay footage, the crossguard saber, like the saber blade length is bigger than Kylo.
It did look very long.
The hilt's length is longer than Kylo's. So it's like they could have changed his fighting style or his animations a little bit differently, was what I was trying to say in the comments. But everyone in fucking Twitter and their moms like, oh, but it's supposed to be a heavy hilt, blah blah blah.
Oh, dude, don't you know? If you criticize an aspect of Star Wars on Twitter, people will bend over backwards to be like, well, actually, it makes sense because if you think about it, it's like Star Wars can't be wrong. It's like it's offensive to your sensibilities for Star Wars to be incorrect in some way. So you have to explain it away. And everyone that's on Star Wars Twitter has been guilty of this at least once, including me. All right, including me. The mental gymnastics, just be like, oh, well, it makes sense, and it's not really stupid because of this and because of that thing that I just made up. Like because the hilt is supposed to be heavier. That's why he swings. Like there's always a reason. People will always try and justify.
All I'm saying is like that's cool. That's cool, bro. That's cool, bro. You're just missing what I'm saying of like if you're gonna do that,
step back and be like, sure, and it's dumb, and that's okay. Like it's okay for someone to think something is dumb that you really, really like, but people take it personally.
All I'm saying is that they should have, consulted someone who uses two-handed longsword, which they could have easily done with the human.
Actually.
Yeah, they could have easily looked into like how people fight. Yeah.
Twitter doesn't even want to argue. Twitter just feels like Twitter has to argue because Twitter wants to be correct. Twitter wants to be seen as the right opinion.
Which I've been guilty of.
There's so many things to argue about. There's so many things to be impassioned about and angry and like outraged. but you chose the Space Wizards.
You chose the Space Wizards.
This is where your passion really flares up. The Space Wizards, all right?
It's true, man.
Not like actual issues
the villainy
on our
and the
planet,
true villainy
in
of
our
the
lives.
Empire. And the true villainy of the Empire. Yeah.
Yeah, no, someone, and it's funny too. People will relish in the chance to correct you, especially once you've got like a platform. Like I've got like 10,000 followers on Twitter. If I post something and there's like I use the wrong word or I mention the wrong planet, I'll get like 3 people being like, "Oh, that's a cool fact," and like 25 people being like, "Actually, it was Felucia, not whatever, like Skako Minor." People will jump on it.
Yeah,
It's like a national pastime. You got to correct people. we love it. We love correcting people on Twitter.
Also, something
Everyone's
random
good.
about Emerald City that just popped in my head. Saturday, I do have a Pike Place Market errand that I will have to do. So if you are,
Oh, sick! I want to go to Pike Place Market. They got Golden Age collectibles down there.
yeah.
That shop is dope.
And I'm going
I
to
know
be
Kelly
going
Knox
there.
hangs out over there.
Yeah, and
a
I'll
lot.
be in Doctor Strange cosplay. So it'll be worth it. But I need to hit up the apothecary shop and get some essential oils and incense.
It will be Sunday, so I'm probably going to be cosplaying as a really hungover guy. We'll see how Saturday goes.
Yeah. Sunday is my day of like mostly shopping. I think Friday is going to be my day of like, because I'll be dressed up as Sinister Strange, so I'll be looking evil and having a third eye on my forehead and everything. So
Friday's your day for messing around.
Friday, I expect to run into people, socialize more, kind of get a lay of the land of what things are like, and then
Cool.
Saturday do more photos, kind of really shop around more, and then like haggle, and then Sunday is the like I'm gonna bring the bag and like be Moon Knight and just try to be as comfortable as possible.
100%, and I will be your Moon Knight zipper attendant.
Yeah, you'll be my dude. It's when we sign off and I post a very important.
Behind every great cosplayer is a guy who's wearing normal clothes and looks a little uncomfortable and is handling the zipper for him.
Yeah.
That's
what happens?
true.
What happens in the convention restroom stays in the convention restroom.
Oh man!
But what I will say, because this is a very important PSA for all anyone who is wearing a jumpsuit or anyone who is a fucking Spider-Man cosplayer.
I know where this is going.
I know. No. Yeah. This is a PSA.
Do you have the photos? Can we share the photos?
What?
Do you have the photos? Can we share them?
I'm not. No. I'm not going to call anybody out, but I will fucking say. I will say. No one wants to see your Spidey sack. Okay, all of you fucking jumpsuit wearing motherfuckers, you all better be wearing some damn shorts or a cup because no one wants to see your Deadpool pecker or your Superman's, satchel. Wow. No one wants to see your dick. All right. So you
need to give the people some context right now.
All you dudes wearing your Spider-Man jumpsuits and all you jumpsuits.
Tell them what happened, Bendu.
Tell them what happened. I'm just saying you can go through Instagram. You can you can go through any Instagram, look up, whatever there are certain cosplayers or certain
you got to tell them.
Like
if you don't tell them,
oh God.
I will tell them.
Why? Just because there was like
what went down, Bendu? What went down when you did your professional photo shoot as Doctor Strange?
I'm just saying, I'm not gonna
Don't name names.
I'm not throwing people under the bus, but I'm just saying that sometimes people who wear jumpsuits need to wear cups because like no one wants to see your pecker. That's all I gotta say.
This is good advice. Dork Forces will endorse this. It has been Dork enforced.
Just be courteous, be aware of your surroundings and people who go to the con and what you might look like, and just protect your pouch. Cover that shit. Be conscientious. Be courteous. Be conscientious to the family event. That's right. Wear a cup. Yep.
There you go.
Kids there. Namor cosplayers are going to be sketchy. That's right. Exactly. Any of you motherfuckers wearing boy shorts and just wings.
They know what they're doing.
Wings.
They know exactly what they're doing. I have to imagine that anyone that wears a costume where your junk is just like knows exactly what they're doing. Because how could you not know? How could you not put on a costume, look in the mirror, and at least see your junk one time? It's not a thing. That's not a thing that happens. Yeah. Everyone checks their junk before they walk out of the house. You have to. You have to. The one time you don't, you're going to jail. You know? That's all I'm saying.
We don't need that.
Dork forces say, wear your dork cup.
Yeah. No one needs that. No one needs your silhouette. Right. Okay.
Thank you for the PSA, Bendu.
This is a PSA for the Jews. Okay.
The people needed to hear that. They really did.
This is a It is. This is a penile PSA. This is
my God.
Protect the people.
I'm pretty sure that's what the P already stood for in PSA. This is a penile service announcement.
Yeah. You know?
I don't know if it's safe for the public, but it's a service announcement of sorts.
Just saying. My eyes are up here, but like at the same time, you know? Sketchy cosplayers, we don't need your scum. Same thing, you know. It's the same. It's the same with the dude bros who are like, "Oh yeah, I got the abs and the big pecs. I'm gonna cosplay the dudes who have," you know, like.
Well, good for them. I will stand up for those big dudes and say, "Good for them." You know what? They worked hard to look like that. Let them do their Namor cosplay. That's not hurting anyone as long as they wear a cup.
Or as long as they, you know, just like, as long as you're just not shoving your. I don't need some.
You can go full Lou Ferrigno. That's fine. Just wear something down there. Yeah, there's kids running around these cons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And more importantly, I'm running around these cons and I don't want to see your junk.
Or your kids.
Honestly, I don't want to see anything from anyone. Yeah. I want to see some sick art prints of Gandalf fighting a Balrog. That I will spend money on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On that note,
yes, that's the public service
next time live in person, and then we might not do a podcast the following Tuesday because I might be fucking exhausted.
You will be back in Arizona by then, yes?
Yeah, but I'll be working. It'll be like right after a normal work day, which I also didn't completely think out. But like, you know what? I have the at-home COVID tests here and ready to go. So
nice. Okay, good.
Prepared.
Excellent. So we've got a recap here for the Mandalorian. Let's do it. Because to be fair, a lot has happened and a lot of time has passed.
Bro, I'm so pumped to see the gauntlet on again.
It looked like from the trailer, it looks like it's getting an action sequence and everything.
There is one job. What is it?
It is a foundling. By Creed, it is in your care.
Stop touching things.
You must reunite it with its own kind. An order of sorcerers.
Man, I want to rewatch the first season. The first season was
Order of Sorcerers. Damn, man.
Stay right here.
Dude, I missed that rifle.
Yeah, the Ambin Phase 2. It's nice. It survived the blast, didn't it? No, just the spear.
No, just the spear.
Yeah, just the spear.
They can help guide you.
God, all the jetpacks. So good.
Take my hand.
I've been
fucking legend.
This child to the Jedi.
Fucking legendary.
To one of their kind.
We need to talk.
I hope it's about
That's my girl.
Yeah.
The Jedi left.
You know this is no place for a child.
Yeah, stop eating spiders. Fucking spiders, bro.
The Marshal, that is an all-timer, that episode.
There's a chance a Jedi may sense his presence and come searching for him.
I will teach you to protect yourself.
Man, that could totally be 2 years. That could easily be 2 years of training.
Are you looking for work?
Honestly, I could see it.
Tell him it's
I still don't think that's what he was trying to say in that statement, but it doesn't.
You may choose.
I can see it. You know,
like I could totally believe that it took 2 years for Boba to like go through all of his rocket ship, you know.
Yeah.
All that PT.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Din Djarin, have you ever removed your helmet?
I have.
Twice.
Then you are a Mandalorian.
He should have just lied and been like, no.
You can't lie. It's
How
too
can I
good.
atone?
One may only be redeemed in the living waters beneath Mandalore.
Fucking let's go!
All right, kid. You ready for an adventure?
I think that's Kalevala. I don't think that's Mandalore. The big grassy planet, because it's got domes. It's got Mando domes, just like Mandalore did. I think it's Kalevala, which is Bo's ancestral seat of power. That's where her family's from. It's another vassal world of the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Because you could kind of see it out the background. I feel like we talked about this a little bit last week as well. Let me see if I can find it here. At least find the moment.
What, the flyby? Or the flyover?
Not even the flyby. Well,
God, look
okay,
at that.
so when she's
Oh,
sitting
right
on
there.
her throne, right
Oh,
there,
that part.
you
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
the water and the grass and the rocks outside.
That's true. We did talk about this.
Yeah, it's not Mandalore. And it's also not Cronist, even though that would be really cool. Because do you remember there was a line in Cronist when in Heroes of Mandalore from Star Wars Rebels, Ezra and Sabine are standing there and he's looking at like the ravaged landscape and he's just like, wow, like this looks like your planet looks like shit. And she's like, yeah, this is what centuries of war has done to the place. Like nothing's ever had a chance to regrow. Well,
Like this scene could be a story that Bo-Katan is telling.
it's true. This could be, but I think that is Din Djarin in
the gauntlet.
In the gauntlet, because we got a cockpit shot up in here, and it's not the N1 cockpit.
That's true. Well, that one is.
Well, that one is, yes, but that.
But that
let's
one.
go. Let's go. Oh, go back further. Here we go.
God, that face.
Oh, dude, if Clan Ordo shows up, I'll freak out. The Old Republic rep right there. That'd be so cool.
God, look at that city, man.
It's cool enough that we get so many connections to House Vizsla going back so far. Ordo would be, or like House Kadera, you know? So like that's the N1. That's the N1 cockpit right there.
Yeah. And then it goes to Gauntlet.
It must have been a different trailer. Yeah, this was the recap. This wasn't the full trailer. That's why it doesn't have the shot that I'm remembering. But the first time we saw that Gauntlet dogfight, there's a shot of Mando in a cockpit that's a different cockpit. So I think that he takes the Gauntlet out and takes out some TIE interceptors, which would be dope. Oh, Fen Rao. I want Fen Rao. I want Sabine. I want Clan Kadera. I want Clan Ordo.
Even just the names, even just something to like give a, to let us know that they're still
honestly, yeah,
out and that they're still present.
Clan Skirata, exactly. Concord Dawn would also be really cool because Concord Dawn is also where we first met Fen Rao. That's where Sabine and Kanan and Hera tried to go to try to recruit them. And then Hera almost got blown the fuck up in an A-Wing. Remember that shit?
Yup.
That was rough. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle Cara Dune as well. Because Dave Filoni confirmed that she is still present in the Star Wars universe. They have not killed her off. She's just not going to exist on screen. She's like elsewhere, you know? I mean, and I don't think they're even going to give us an explanation because I don't think that one is really warranted, you know?
Yeah.
She's off doing Marshall stuff, or she's off with her old Rebel dropper friends taking care of business. Like, we don't need to know necessarily.
Exactly.
How do you feel about them recasting the character? Do you think they should just sort of like let it lie, or bring a totally new face and make that the new Cara Dune?
I mean, I've worked long enough at Disney to know that with enough makeup and a wig, you can, like, okay, so I don't know if you've seen Quantumania yet, Ant-Man Quantumania. I saw that shit.
No, I'm waiting for it to hit streaming, like with all the Marvels.
Oh, King the Conqueror, bro. I was just, Jonathan Majors just fucking blew that shit out of the water.
Anyway, I heard it was pretty good. I heard it was pretty bad. I heard both things. So I don't know what to believe.
There were some choices. There were some choices that were made. There were some very questionable choices that were made. But a lot of the focus and special effects money was being put into Wakanda Forever. So when you think about that, when you watch Wakanda Forever and then watch Ant-Man Quantumania, like it kind of makes sense.
Okay, well, I did watch Wakanda Forever, and the graphics were pretty good.
Yeah. What the fuck was I saying though? Shit.
Quantumania.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Cara Dune. They could easily recast her. There's plenty of really strong, really buff women out there that, again, with enough makeup and a wig, you can make Cara Dune. Especially if you just like make her a hologram or make it some transition of like, oh yeah, I've gone back to being a drop trooper. You know, like
I think that if it'd be ironic, really, because it seems like Disney, or I should say Lucasfilm, really can't make their minds up on what philosophy they want to go with when it comes to recasting. Because they're willing to recast Alden Ehrenreich, give you a young Han Solo, to carry that. Because out of necessity, because they can't just de-age Harrison Ford for an entire movie. But then at the other hand, instead of recasting young Luke Skywalker, they're going to like break the bank with CGI to bring like a de-aged Mark Hamill into the fold. And like that, spending that kind of effort and money kind of implies that they're against recasting it because it has to be actually Mark Hamill because we have the technology, blah, blah, blah. And at that point, I don't know. It seems antithetical to being okay with recasting if you're going to like go to that extreme to avoid recasting. You know what I mean?
that's also Luke Skywalker.
It's Luke fucking Skywalker, yes, but it's Han fucking Solo.
It's teenage Han Solo.
Well, yeah, right, exactly.
We also didn't have so there's also this. There's also the time, energy, and money that it would take to putting that technology into an entire film, like an entire like movie length film, like Han Solo, versus just a few little tidbit scenes here and there of like digital Luke for Book of
I don't
Boba,
believe they did, no.
or digital Tarkin for Rogue One, If they did an entire movie of CGI Luke, they probably
you're right. You would see the strings pretty fast.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
They wouldn't do a full length feature film with CGI Luke.
I'm going to be interested to see what they do with the new Indiana Jones. I'm interested to see just how much de-aged Harrison. It's probably just going to be brief moments.
Or it'll be it's just his face. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah, fucking on a scale of 1 to 10, how goddamn hyped are you right now for Mandalorian, though?
Oh, I thought you meant for Indy.
Hours away.
So I thought you meant for Indy, and I was like, you know what, Indy, that trailer, like, it makes me a little bit more excited than that Crystal Skull.
I am hyped. I am hyped for Indy too, but no, Mando is going to. See, I'm trying to temper my expectations, but at the same time, I'm just so goddamn excited because, in my opinion, Mando is kind of where it all started.
I just know it's visually going to look very beautiful, even if it's only 38 minutes long or 34 minutes long.
Yeah, it's going to be a short one.
Like you said, it's the fact that we're going to be reintroduced to this world and reintroduced to this specific film style, the specific storytelling style, because it's like we got Kenobi, which was a fucking powerhouse of beauty and like a love story to the sequels and prequels. And then we had Andor, which was like a fucking Tom Clancy novel, which was like Shakespeare in the Park.
I'm so excited for season 2 of Andor, man. That might be my favorite so far.
So it's like we got to see Andor, we got Kenobi, and now we got Mando, which is like space western. It's like Mando is like the best parts of Firefly, but shinier. It's not covered in dust and rust and fucking
totally. It definitely has a Firefly feel to it. I think after hearing the analogy of like it's John and Dave playing with action figures, I've never been able to get that out of my head, and that's absolutely what's going on. Every time there's like a Mando story, they're just playing with action figures and throwing in whatever they've got, and I love it because they play with their action figures the same way I play with mine. So like I jive with their storytelling as an audience member. I'm like the perfect person to watch this,
But at the same time, though, fucking Favreau showed us the inside of the breastplate for like Mandalorian armor, and
that was so cool when the Mudhorn broke it and he was like fixing it.
Yeah, or like he was the first person to really show us the mechanics of the turning of Slave One's cockpit, or like the insides of the Mandalorian helmet itself, or like there are certain things that
I feel like that those are the episodes that Rick Famuyiwa directs have a lot of like close. Rick Famuyiwa, he directed a lot of the episodes that have those little close detailed moments, like in the Prisoner, for example, when he rips the arm off of the New Republic security droid and then pulls the wrist back and like twists the thing and gets the scomp to come out and manually makes the scomp link happen, and we get to see how the gears turn and stuff. Like that was just such a cool little moment. And Rick Famuyiwa is in fact directing the premiere episode of season 3 that's coming out tonight.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then a bunch more in the season 2. So I'm expecting a couple more little delicious, like how it works moments, or like little focusing on details, because I love that about his style. He always does that.
Or like when we got to see the knee rockets come out of Boba's legs, or like when we got to see how the whistling birds even fucking works. Like there's just like little things.
Oh god, those whistling
Very
birds.
Iron Man, which was still very Iron Man and still very Favreau. But like the fact that we got to see how that shit still works. You know?
From what I've heard, Skeleton Crew is absolutely going to be a sleeper hit, and nobody knows anything about it yet. But as soon as the details start coming in, I think people are going to start getting hyped about Skeleton Crew.
It's like the Rebels episode where what's blind dude's name?
Kanan.
Yeah, it's
Wrong
like
Coda.
Kanan is teaching Sabine how to fight, and we get to see like the grappling hooks get to be used, and like we get to see the energy shields and the flamethrowers getting used, and like we got to see what it was that Mandalorians built and like how they put themselves.
That's such a fun
together.
moment, dude. That's such a fun moment. Like Kanan is kicking her ass, and then Fen Rao's like, "Oh, I don't think so." Like he just like swells up with Mando pride, and he's like, "Here, you got to do this and do that." And like she knocks him on his butt. It's so good. I love that moment.
Yeah, utilizing the jetpack for a force jump, and like utilizing the
Approximately 34 minutes.
using the grappling hook to get her guns back and the Darksaber hilt back to counteract the force push and force pull. Like it's just little shit like that. It's like, oh man, that's so fucking cool.
Really excited to see the live action choreography that we get in Ahsoka, to see how Sabine fights, if she looks like the character and how she fights in animation, you know? Like that's like it's I feel like it's not going to feel totally real until I see Hera, Ahsoka, and Sabine like in a firefight in like an action sequence.
It's still like
Then it's
still
gonna
gives me
sink in.
goosebumps thinking about the scene where Ahsoka's fighting like the random like wall guards or whatever, and then she just slices so fucking hard that she cuts entirely through the gate gong.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
bro. She's just
That part was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about when she did the quadruple decapitation in the Clone Wars with those Death Watch Mandos.
That too. Like that's just like this is a kid's show. It's like no, it's not.
She's pretty bloodthirsty, man. Like when she attacks, she goes for the kill every time. She's not taking prisoners. She's not taking prisoners. She always goes for the kill shot, like with the sabers.
She's like Dooku. She's like,
yeah. Can you blame her? She was raised by Anakin. Like
it's true. Oh man,
the murder machine of the Jedi Order. Jesus.
God, it's so fucking good.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, do you have any final thoughts ahead of tonight's ridiculous Mando and Bad Batch double episode Smash Fest, which will be continuing for the next 6 consecutive weeks before we jump into like the crazy Star Wars month of March? What do you got?
You know, like we said last week, maybe we'll see Cody and Crosshair. Where's Cody and Crosshair? We don't know. They're just AWOL.
We will see Cody and Crosshair in the last scene of the last episode of the last season of the Bad Batch spin-off show.
Yeah.
All right. Which is all about Gonki and will run for 16 seasons. And then we'll see them. That's my prediction. No, I think that we're going to get like at least there's what 16 episodes total, and we're on number 10 of Bad Batch. Yes. I think we're getting like 2 more self-contained stories before we actually get more Clone Rebellion stuff. Any like Senate action, anything with Crosshair or Rampart or his weird shadowy spy, who is not the only spy. He's got to have more than one spy, and I'm sure they also have their own orders. Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the fucking taser tooth, and like, dude, the fact that we still got to see Papa Palpatine, and like, also, I love that you like made the too of like, oh yeah, let's just obviously listen to and ignore this really old, decrepit, evil-looking senator in a black ass robe. Like, yeah, clearly there's nothing wrong with this guy at all.
He seems on the level. He seems on the up and up, man. Creepy glowing eyes, black robes all the time. He's got a blue dude with devil horns hanging out everywhere he goes.
He knows what the fashion is. But at the same time, we got Andor and we got fucking Bill Skarsgård wearing his, like, you know, having his amazing antique shop in the middle of Coruscant, just selling off holocrons, like, you know.
I love that they finally came out with a Star Wars show. Speaking of Andor, I love that they finally came out with a Star Wars show where the Easter eggs weren't the coolest part of the damn show.
Yeah.
Like, I love the Mandalorian to death, but nothing gets me more excited than like the little name drops and the references and the Easter eggs. Like, that's always been more exciting than the story for me. And I think Andor was the first one to break that barrier for me. And I was like, oh, fuck, I got to know what happens next. I know what that thing is over there in Luthen's shop, but I'm not even caring because I'm trying to like understand this dialogue right now. I think
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest, like, knowing what kind of a Star Wars fan I am and what I like in my Star Wars. I think that's the biggest compliment that I could give to Andor, is that it made me
really
forget about the references for a minute and actually just like sit there and follow the story, which all of the other Star Wars shows have failed to do. Like
Prison Break.
And I love them all. That's not a criticism of them necessarily, but like
yeah,
Andor elevated it, man. It elevated the story in a lot of ways.
Yeah, or like how the manifesto just like kept getting echoed, and like how the manifesto. Yeah.
Don't start that again.
Yeah, there's so much. But yes, on that note, thank you again to the 104 of you who are watching us live. That's absolutely fantastic and fucking
awesome.
phenomenal.
Good numbers this week.
So hang out with us as we continue to watch The Bad Batch tonight at midnight and Mando season 3 episode 1 tomorrow.
Yes, if you are a Patreon member, you will be getting our full-length reaction to The Bad Batch tonight, shortly after midnight, probably about like 1 a.m. And the Bad Batch reaction will be coming probably around noon or 1 p.m. like that later that day. So about 12 hours later, because I got to go grab Bendu from the airport, get him fed, get him back here. We're going to watch the thing, send it to Nerd Chronic. That's going to take a couple hours. But stay tuned. By the end of day tomorrow, everything should be up there on the channel. So, and next time you see me, I'm probably going to look something like this. So, so yeah, it's true. Yeah, I clipped that. I slowed it down and I clipped it. And now anytime I get hype about anything, I can just smash cut.
God, that's amazing. Grogu's jiggly ears, just like...
Yeah, his wiggling ears are my favorite part, actually. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sith, for giving me the idea. He posted it as a GIF, and I was like, oh, wait, I'm going to find the actual video and slow it down. And just... I didn't even think about the sound. But that's canon.
The sound is excellent.
Yeah, I really should. If I do that, I'm not going to make it till midnight to watch Bad Batch, so probably not.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This was the Dork Forces. We go live every Tuesday to discuss the weekly happenings in the Star Wars nerddom world. And yes, to answer a question I saw earlier in the chat, we probably will be doing this again next Tuesday. Depends on Bendu and how the travels and how the journeys go. So it's yes, asterisk, subject to change. We'll see what happens. Dr. Sith, you always inspire me every time I wipe in Karaga's palace. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Oh, good work, Anakin. Now, kill him.
I shouldn't.
Do it! Oh, Master Windu. I must say you're here sooner than expected.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you're under arrest, Chancellor.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
The Senate will decide your fate.
Oh, well, actually, I am the Senate.
Not yet.
It's treason, then. Ah!
Just like throw the puppet.
I am going to end this once and for all.
You can't. He must stand trial.
He has control of the Senate and the courts. He's too dangerous to be left alive.
No, please. Please don't kill me. No. I didn't mean it.
It's not the Jedi way. He must live.
Don't kill me. I'm too weak.
I need him.
No. Oh! Power! Unlimited power!